Hey, 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 everybody. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, wow. Woo. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. And I hope everybody is going into this Christmas. And if you're celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. If you're celebrating nothing, that's fine too, and stuff. But I hope everybody had a nice holiday and enjoyed themselves and took some time off and saw about themselves and made sure that they were okay. And you haven't seen me in a while because I was taking care of myself and taking care of, family and having dinner here. And we hosted a Thanksgiving dinner here at my house for some of my family, and it was really, really nice. Turned out really well. We had a great time. Mr. Berg smoked a turkey, and I baked a turkey, and we made stuffing and mashed potatoes and some veggies, and I bought a pie because I don't bake, and neither does he and stuff. So, but we had a really good time and had about 6 bottles of champagne, which I still got about four of them. So hey, here comes the new year, and I've got lots of sparkling wine just for it because I love sparkling wine. Okay, in between sparkling wine and beer, those are my two alcoholic drinks, my fave. So since you haven't seen me, and since I was so busy last week and everything, and didn't get a chance to come and kind of do a recap from Love and Hip Hop from last week and stuff. And I'm sure you all have seen it. And if you haven't seen it, well, you'll get a little synopsis, a little mini synopsis from me today, along with a lesson, because that's how I do it. I think there are lessons to be found everywhere. You just got to be looking for them. There are, I once had somebody tell me there are no good or bad experiences, only lessons. And so you need to be looking for lessons, in life, wherever you can find them. Glean what you can, take the knowledge and use it for your own life. Even if something bad happens to you or someone else and stuff, we don't wish bad things on anyone. I certainly don't. But even when bad things happen, there's a lesson in there for you that you need to be catching. Now, today's lesson from last week's Love and Hip Hop, and tonight it's coming on again, so I'll be back sometime later on this week to talk about it. But today's lesson from last week's Love and Hip Hop is the choice is yours. And when I say choice, I do mean choice. Everybody in whatever, kind of state you're in when it comes to relationships or having a relationship or whatever, the choice is yours, ladies. You have a lot of power. And it makes me sad sometimes to see women giving away their power or relinquishing their power to someone else who goes and turns and misuses that against him and stuff. And so we're going to get into the show a little bit. Well, last week's was, of course, Peter with the back and forth trying to figure out how he was going to juggle two women because he has decided that, yes, he's going to try to get his baby mom Tara back, and he's scheming and plotting and manipulating to figure out how he can stay married to one and still have the other one, and he can juggle them around, and stuff. So, and in the whole essence of that is that the choice of whether or not that's going to happen will be up to those two women. But unfortunately, they probably don't know that they even have a choice. So he's talking to Amina, and Amina is, trying to press him to kind of get her career going and stuff. But of course, he's got kind of a messy life and trying to see about his kids and trying to juggle an extra woman and somehow manipulate her back into his life. It makes for a messy life. And he goes and sees Tara. He stops her on the street on the way to work because she won't talk to him. Good thing. She shouldn't talk to him. But he stops her on the street. And let me just say, this is just sort of an aside, little aside kind of fashionista thing. That outfit she was wearing last week on the show, the little black and white shorts and the green top, were just fabu. I mean, just absolutely. Woo! I mean, that outfit, I was loving that outfit. Now, I don't know where she works where you can wear shorts, but I wish I worked that. I don't think I could work that outfit, but Lord have mercy, it was really cute on her. I love that outfit. Okay, so back to the show. So he stops her and he starts talking and telling her how he's sorry. And once again, trying to figure out how he's going to fix this and asking her, well, what should I do? What should I do? And she does something that a lot of women do when men are in those situations and they're coming back and forth and they're, trying to ease and manipulate their way back into, that little space. All dudes need, need ladies, is a crack. Okay, that's it. If you don't shut a door on them completely, all they need is a crack to get back in there. So she's stopping and she's talking, and he's talking about what is he gonna do, and then she just says, "Well, do what you think you should do." Nope, nope. Stop. Wrong answer. No, you do not leave the choice up to him about what he's going to do regarding your life and your sanity and your trust and, your heart. You don't leave the choice up to him. You have to take that choice and power back and make the decision. But like most women, she doesn't want to make the hard decision. And she was talking to, I think it was Yandy, and her had gone to the gym to work out. And she was talking to Yandy about she wasn't really sure whether or not, she didn't really know if she wanted to. And see, that's the thing. You have to make a decision. Now listen, whatever decision she makes is really up to her. Personally, I'd be like, you're out of here. You're done. The only thing we need to talk about is the kids, and me and you are done. We're done. That's it. I'm moving on with my life. You go somewhere, girl, cry in a corner. Don't let them see you all sad. Cry in a corner somewhere and have your grieving and mourning time about the relationship and move on with your life, okay, and stuff. But this sort of, you let him back in, and he kind of floats in and out while he's lying and manipulating you and stuff and gaslighting her, and once again emotionally abusing her, trying to blame her for the end of the relationship. All that's going to happen is she will end up taking him back because you get lonely sometimes. It gets lonely. And, although he has another woman and she's still talking about how she doesn't, sometimes it gets lonely. And unless you're taking up time, doing something else, occupying time, and not paying attention to him and whatever crap he's talking about and stuff, you will end up with this guy back in your life. Her choice that she could have made easily was to just say, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I'm breaking up and breaking off with you. You need to go back and be with your wife. Okay? Leave me alone. And like I say, we talk about the kids or whatever, but leave me alone. It will not be no back and forth between me and you. And you have to stick to those boundaries. Remember, you have to have those boundaries and stick to them. And if he doesn't, there has to be consequences regarding this. But ladies, you can't have this thing where you're letting the guy make the choice or putting it in his lap, thinking somehow he'll choose you, and stuff. Because see, a lot of times that doesn't happen. Hey, I remember trying to do that in my early 20s, was a guy letting him have the choice. Yeah, that did not work out good for me. I never did that crap again. Okay. I make the choice. I take the power back of what it is that I'm going to do or not do. I'm not giving no dude no chance to kind of yo-yo. You don't give guys a chance to kind of yo-yo you up and down and string you along and all that stuff until they make a decision or until the dream woman of their dream comes along and everything or and stuff. You will be in heartbreak, in a perpetual state of heartbreak doing that, which she's been in sort of with him over these 13 years, because she won't take her power. She won't make her own choice about what it is that she wants to do for her life, which now has her wasted years with him. Okay. The next scenario we have is with Saigon and Erica J. And now they're dating. Okay, the baby mama and baby daddy, after he sends her through hoops of fire to prove that that's his child, they're dating. So they're on some date at some place, and he's talking about his child. And as you know from this, I've talked about this before, he has two kids the same age because he got two women pregnant, her and another woman pregnant, about the same time. Lord, give me strength. Okay, why I would want to be with somebody like that is like on a whole nother psychotic level. But she does. She really does. She really wants to be with him. She really thinks he's some sort of prize and stuff. So they're sitting there, and he's talking about his child with the other woman and saying how that child is talking and that child is really kind of progressing. And I guess that child is a girl. And that child is really progressing, and he doesn't really understand what's going on with his son. And then he becomes hostile and starts accusing her of being a bad mother, which is, yeah, no, please stop, dude, whatever. You're not even around. You can't, someone was saying that's not a good way to start trying to figure out how to work out maybe something you see as a difficulty or some issue you see with your child. It's not to say the mom is a bad mom and she sucks and he's blaming this. I mean, let's like, yeah, I'm blaming it all on you. I'm blaming it. And she's just like, what are you talking about? And so she immediately gets defensive, and he starts talking about, he thinks the child maybe is autistic, which is great. If that's what you think, get the child tested for autism, and stuff. But you don't do that by crapping on the woman who's been taking care of the child while you've been out running in the streets doing whoever and whatever, who knows and stuff, and you don't crap on her. But you know what? Some of this is her fault because she allowed herself to be crapped on because, of course, she started doing work. And of course, you know what happens when you start doing work? You know what happens when you let people, take choices away from you, you start doing work? You know what happens? Then people figure out, you know what? I can do anything to you. I can say anything to you. I can do anything to you. I can emotionally abuse you because you're so desperate and you want me so bad, you'll take it. After all that she's done, after all the hoops of fire that she has jumped through, this is how she's repaid, by being accused of being a bad mother by the father who's pretty much abandoned his child. Yeah, no, not me. Not on your best day, dude. Not even. Um, but that's what happens. So she's given the choice to him of how is he going to choose her, how is he going to treat her. There's no boundaries, there's no nothing. She's desperately wanting him because she thinks he's so great and he's so fantastic and all this sort of stuff, and she's willing to do all this stuff to show him or to prove to him that somehow, please pick me. And he is as abusive. So they get into this huge fight, and he starts talking about her and really dogging her and talking about her really badly. And they're out in the parking lot, and it almost kind of looks like about to fisticuffs, and stuff. But she's really upset and can't believe it. And then she's just talking about, I can't believe it. This is what he did before. Why are people, I'm just not understanding the shock of people when people do the same thing over again. Really, you can't be shocked. You just can't. You can't be, you could maybe be upset, but you can't be shocked. But there's always this look of, oh my God, I can't believe it. And it's like, he did this to you before. You can't feign shock. You can't do it, okay? You can't be surprised that he's doing this again. Because once again, you've given your choices away. You cannot, ladies, continually give away your choice, your power, waiting for a dude to somehow treat you okay because you give it away, or to somehow legitimize you because you keep giving your power away. He's not. What you tell him when you give your power and your choices and your boundaries away, when you have no boundaries, what you tell him is, it's okay to treat me this way. It's okay for you to do this because I'm so enamored or I'm so empty on the inside. I'm so scared that I might lose you, and stuff. I'm so desperately clinging to you, trying to complete myself, and stuff, which once again no one can do. I'll take anything. And you know what? When you take anything, you'll get anything. When you ask for nothing, you'll get exactly that. Nothing. That's how that works. And her being shocked and surprised and so hurt by him, and Tara kind of letting it float out of, whatever you can do, you can do whatever you like, sort of thing, is just another example of what happens when you don't make choices. Women have so much power. I don't even get how we don't even understand the power we have. We've been so duped and convinced we don't have no power, no nothing. That everything we do is about making sure that we can make sure we make this guy love us and stay with us and whatever. But the point of the matter is, ladies, you're not the one in need. Listen, women could not ever mess with men ever again and be cool. You could never mess with a dude the rest of your life and be okay. Okay? There's lots of battery operated boyfriends and all that stuff. We're cool. We're cool with each other's company, and stuff. Women could never, we could go as really as heterosexual women that I'm talking about, we could go the rest of our lives and never ever be bothered. Okay, we're not in no, it's not in no desperate need. I mean, any needs we have, we really can take care of them ourselves, and stuff. We're more than capable, you know, of doing the stuff that we need done, you know, um, just by engaging and hanging out with one another and talking and laughing and stuff. We really can. But the thing is, ladies, men need you. Now, of course, they don't want you to know this, and of course, they keep trying to dupe you into thinking that they don't need you. But trust and believe, they need you. In the story of Adam and Eve, there's a reason she was made second. It wasn't because she was lower or beneath. It was because he needed help. He needed help. She didn't need help. It wasn't like she was made first and then, he was made. He needed help. He needed her. And the thing is, we have this incredible amount of power when it comes to how our relationships are formed and go with men, but we don't even use it. We're so busy giving it away in hopes that somehow it's going to draw him in. Really, all that really does is, with most dudes, it either makes them abusive, or they're like, I don't even want to be bothered with you. You're a doormat, you know. So it never gets you what you want. Having boundaries, having standards, making a choice, taking your power as a woman and using it makes you a wonderful catch, a woman worthy men want to be with and will compete to have. Listen, a bunch of, there's probably a lot of dudes that would want a doormat woman. I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist, like every man is worthy. There are a lot of dudes. But the dudes that want doormat women are men like, Saigon and Peter Guns. I mean, they're not men no other woman would really want, you know. So they love doormats. Doormats make them feel better. Doormats feed their ego. Women who give their power and choices away to them, they feed their ego. Erica doing all that stuff she's doing, jumping through the hoops of fire, just fed his ego. which just let him know, yeah, well, I could just talk about you and say what a crappy mom you've been and how this child is having all kind of issues and problems, and I could blame it completely on you and have abandoned you and the child, okay, and blame it completely on you. And you know what? Next week you'll come back. You'll want me back because I've done this before and you want me back. I actually abandoned you and a child, and you want me back. And you actually went out and tried to prove to me that you were worthy by proving the child is mine. Ooh, get up now. What? Hey, I can't even. Now there is something for you. Ding, ding, red light. He knows what he can do. And so he does it with impunity. And she takes it and she fusses and she fights, but she never really makes boundaries. And then later, what will happen at some other point is he'll probably come back and apologize, and she'll take him back with that sorry, sorry, with no action behind it. And it will be a repeat of the same abuse and the same emotional abuse, because these man children don't really know how to be men. So you got a bunch of women on here mothering grown men. You have a choice. Stop giving your choices away. You have a choice. When folks are going round and round with you and they can't really make a decision, I don't really know if I want to date you, I want to date somebody else, and I don't really know if I want to be with you. And you know what? Make that decision right quick. You know what? You don't even have to worry about that, sweetie. I'll make that decision for you. I'm moving on. Okay? Bye-bye. You can make that decision. You don't even have to worry about him or spend your nights up wringing your hands, talking to your girlfriends about, I don't know what he gonna do. I don't really know what's gonna happen here. You can make that decision. You can get that done and then move on with your life. Let go of that. Drop that burden. That's what he is. Drop that burden. And you go on and take your power back as a woman. Stop acting like, these are men with no jobs and no money. What you need him for? He can't even, these folks, Peter Gunz can't even provide the woman and his 2 kids with a home. What I need you for? Tara's a good-looking woman. Most of those women on that show, they're good-looking women. Needy, but hey, they're good-looking women. What is this of the distraught desperation? For people, incapable of actual commitment and love and being forthright and honorable. People who don't even know what those words mean. All they know is, street loyalty, whatever with that crap. But that's not nothing useful to nobody. They know street level loyalty. They're running around trying to tell each other what to do. And I'm telling you, the club of the blind leading the blind is just about to make me sick. All of them, y'all, the dudes on there, please shut up. Y'all stop giving each other advice. That, here's a clue. If the person giving you advice, life is really raggedy, I would not take their advice. Just a hint. Okay. So, that's the level they're on. Stop letting them take your choice. Stop letting people like that take your choice. Stop letting people who want to kind of swing back and forth and really don't want to commit, really don't want to make a decision, really don't know what they want to do, want to play burn the candle at both ends. And you can easily stop all that. Let them do that with somebody else. They're not the last people on earth. It's just the truth. you know. And I know that's her kid's father, but you know, you don't. There's nothing else there, and so she could have easily made the decision right there on that sidewalk and told him, "This is what I'm going to do, and this is what's going to happen, and this is the end of this." But of course, she's let him make the decision. And of course, he will be manipulating and scheming and, you know, and somehow figuring out how to juggle two women at once. Because that's what he was saying he was doing. Like, you know, this is just what I'm going to do and this is normal, whatever that is. Okay. So hey, tonight, Love and Hip Hop will be on again, and I'll be back sometime later this week to talk about tonight's episode. They're probably getting ready to come to the end of the season soon, but I've been having fun doing this, and I hope you've been really having fun watching me and having a good time learning something. Remember, ladies, the choice is yours. Don't forget that. Okay, bye bye.